Hi everyone. So in this podcast, I was going to say episode, but this is actually a podcast. What I'm going to be doing with Cherrie Nichol, who is there waiting. So if you can't say Cherrie, don't worry. I will add you soon. So this podcast is about the IPP prison sentence, and the IPP stands for Imprisonment for Public Protection. And Cherrie has come on today to speak about her personal experiences having a brother who was serving IPP, and she is in touch with Joe OUTLAW, and we're going to be bringing to your attention some of Joe's upcoming court case for escaping. Well, he's charged with escaping from Frankland Prison. Even though it wasn't an escape, he got up on the roof protesting about the IPPs. He was in the segregation unit, got up on the roof, and they charged him with escaping from the prison, which is absolute bullshit, because he didn't try to escape. He got up on the roof as a protest. So I'm going to introduce Cherrie, everybody. So here we go.
Hi.
Cherrie. Oh,
Hi, all right.
how are we doing?
I'm all right. I'm getting there.
Good. So 2 seconds, Cherrie, just while I change this banner in the background that I can see on the screen. Yeah,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me all right?
I can, yes.
So, Cherrie, I've just introduced, obviously, about the IPPs and this podcast that we're doing. The IPP is Imprisonment for Public Protection.
Yeah.
And you have been doing quite a lot of work regarding IPPs, I believe.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work over a number of years for different IPPs. Predominantly, my brother I started out campaigning for, and then through the pain of campaigning, I helped other families and still help them.
Yeah. So, Cherrie, what we'll do is, first of all, we'll just actually, what I'll do is I've got some facts about the IPPs, unless you know the latest figures.
Well, it keeps going up and down because the recall just keeps going up and down. So as soon as they come out, they're back in again. So see what the latest figures you've got.
So what I've got on here is the current population figures, but this is as of the 31st of March 2025. So unreleased IPP prisoners, so these are the ones that are still in custody that have never been released. It is 1,012. And it does say this is down from 1,132 from the previous year. Recalled IPP prisoners, 1,532. That's as of 31st of March. And the total IPP prison population is 2,544.
Yeah.
So, you've just disappeared off the screen there, Cherrie. So what I'm going to do is talk about the actual IPP sentence, because there will be people tuning in. Hopefully Cherrie can come back on in a second. But the IPP was brought out in around about 2004, 2005. And like I've mentioned, it stands for Imprisonment for Public Protection. And this sentence was brought out and reserved for the most serious of offenders. This was meant to be for people that didn't merit a life sentence, but it was serious enough to merit an IPP. But an IPP was the equivalent of a life sentence. It's a 99-year sentence. Unlike Cherrie's brother, he was given IPP in 2005. 20 years later, he's still serving this sentence. He only got released April this year after 20 years, but he has since been recalled back to prison. I can see Cherrie's trying to get back on there. It's maybe something to do with her connection. But I will keep talking a little bit about the IPPs until I can get Cherrie back on. So the total IPP population, like I've just said there, but 2 seconds. So the IPPs, some of the lads and lasses who can't or who have never been released, some of them had a relatively short tariff. Now, and see Cherrie's back there, so I'll put her back on the stage.
Sorry, I don't know where I went.
Don't worry. Maybe it's your signal, but I've just been going over a few more of the facts. And I'm just seeing when the IPP was actually brought out in 2000.
Five.
But it came out, it says here, the imprisonment for public protection was introduced and officially came into force on the 4th of April 2005. So Cherrie, is it Graham, your brother?
Yeah, so it's called Aaron Graham. So Aaron got his IPP in the back end of 2005, December, and then obviously went in 2006 in the January into prison to serve his IPP. So that's when he got his sentence, and obviously it was the same time as when they first brought it out, and 8,000 people got it at the same time, because it was handed out like sweets, you know.
What was Aaron's original tariff, and what was it for?
So it was 2 years and 124 days, and it was for GBH. So basically, he took part in a fight. There was 3 of them, and he got his like sentence was GBH.
Yeah, so that was the same as me. Mine was GBH, which was a Section 18, but mine was with the intent, and I received mine in 2006.
Right.
And I just had mine abolished last year, September of last year, terminated, sorry. And obviously,
that's amazing.
And obviously, the sad situation is it wasn't everybody who got IPP have all experienced different amounts of times in prison, because it goes off your behaviour in prison. It also goes off whether or not you can get your courses done. But a lot of lads and lasses, because I'll say lads, but there's lasses as well serving this sentence, who are suffering really bad with the mental health, but they're using the mental health as a reason for keeping them in prison. But the mental health is because of the IPP. But it was supposed to be kept in prison until you're no longer deemed a risk to the public. These people are no longer deemed a risk to the public, but they're now deemed a risk to themselves, and they're using that to keep them in prison. Like, it just doesn't make sense, does it?
No, I mean, as I say, it's the sentence, the never-ending sentence, the IPP. So you've got people waiting to do the courses, and a lot of the time, the people that are waiting to do the courses can't do the courses because they're not at the establishment where they are, but because they haven't got a date, and there's only a short number of limited courses. Jack Jones in front of the queue will get it, you know. So it's like, they can't get on the courses, or they need to go to different prisons. So they're kind of like doing 2, 3.
I've just put your mic on mute a second there, Cherrie, because it's there's an interference, and I don't want it obviously interfere with the live. But I'll 2 seconds.
Sorry.
Right, it's come back on there, Cherrie. It's just, it keeps breaking up on your end. I don't know whether you're on your Wi-Fi there or are you on your data, because
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi normally all right. It's come back on there, so hopefully it's all right. It's probably obviously with the 2 separate ends of the world.
I know. I know.
6 hours ahead here in Thailand.
Oh, bless you.
But yes, we were just obviously on about his sentence. So did Aaron actually serve or been in 20 years without even being released?
Yeah. First time he was released was the 10th of April this year.
So he could have been out in 2008, after serving 2.5 years, but 2025, when he was released, spent 20 years inside a prison. And this is the heartbreaking thing with the IPPs as well. Like, someone can go in for committing a horrendous murder and be released quicker than what Aaron has spent inside.
Yeah.
Because some people that go in for murder with a 15-year tariff, they've got 15 years to get the courses done or whatever. And someone who's got a 2.5-year tariff hasn't got long enough to prove that they've been rehabilitated and do the courses. So through no fault of their own, they get knocked back. And then obviously these knockbacks interfere with their mental states. And then obviously some of them end up turning to drugs to cope with it. And then if they give positive piss tests, then that's another reason to knock them back.
Yeah. And we just go around in circles, Ricky, with you know, having to do this, having to do that. Things are wrote on the Oasis that aren't true. You've got you've got the psychologist reports that aren't correct, or there's things on there that's not right. So you can see, because if you have that your insight, how we just go around in circles, and they end up not getting released because they don't have support. And when they do, they've been so traumatized with the PTSD, they have like PTSD, and they have all kinds of mental health traumas caused by the effects of the sentence and not knowing, because it's a torture. They can't cope on the outside because they don't get that support. So it's like this all the time. So the recall rate.
So as you can see, people, I'll just keep talking when this happens, but it's obviously with the distance in between us, I'm sure it's something to do with the Wi-Fi connection. But we're also coming on, wait a second, I think maybe coming back on there, but we are also going to be talking, because I can see someone in the comment section there saying about Joe. Cherrie's in contact with Joe, who's now in HMP Woodhill. And we are going to be talking a bit about his case as well, because he's got an upcoming trial. So Joe has got an upcoming trial about escaping from Frankland Prison, which we are going to get into. Hopefully Cherrie can come back on. But as Cherrie was saying there about her brother, Aaron, who got 2.5 years for GBH, IPP with a recommendation of 2.5 years. He could have been out after 2.5 years, but obviously things have happened inside a prison. He couldn't get courses done. Here we are, Cherrie. Sorry about that, son.
I just keep doing a disappearing act. I'm talking about recall here, and I keep running off. But sorry, I think my Wi-Fi, I've come downstairs, might be better, so I do apologise.
Right.
We will get through it.
No, if it does happen again, I'll just obviously keep talking so we can get you back on.
Okay.
Yes, so we were up to the bits. I think we were talking about your brother.
Yeah.
Being 20 years without release. So what was the reasons that they were given then for keeping Aaron in for so long?
So basically, Aaron got so poorly that he wouldn't engage. It was between him not engaging, being stubborn, and having reports that were wrote about him that weren't right. And he kind of like, there were 7 or 8 times when his case was adjourned, actually, so there was opportunities to release him and progress him, but that never happened. So we've wasted a lot of time going around in circles until I kind of took the reins and said, listen, this isn't happening anymore. And I pushed and pushed and pushed, and then we ended up getting the proper paroles we should have had. A lot of the time your rights seem to be infringed when you're IPP, because no one really knows what they're doing. So you're relying on a long list of people to pull things together, and it's an absolute disaster.
Say with the parole boards as well, which is an absolute nightmare. You've got inside probation, outside probation, your offender supervisor, which is obviously the outside probation, and then you've got your own solicitor. Then you've got the parole board members, and they've all got to make that same date.
Yeah.
So you could be waiting 12 months for that date, and then something could happen to someone calls in sick, then they have to defer it. Then you've got to wait another 6 months until they can all get together again on that same date. And I know this because it happened to me when I was coming up on my first hearing 2 days before. But I mean, the build up for the prisoner, from a prisoner's point of view, the anxiety, everything building up, going over it in your head, it's an absolute nightmare. You can't sleep. And then 2 days beforehand gets cancelled, gets put back for 6 months. Then you've got to go through all that process again. Yeah. And it's an absolute head fuck. And if you're not strong-minded, you kind of get through it. And the only way some of them can manage to cope with it is by taking substances inside to cope with them feelings, because some people aren't mentally strong. And if you're not mentally strong, you're not going to get through that sentence. And that's why there's over 100 people now, I think, inside a prison took their lives on IPP.
Yeah.
There's been quite a lot out here in the community as well who couldn't face getting recalled, and they've ended up doing away with themselves because they didn't want to go back to prison, and they were in fear of it constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So We are. So what else have you been doing then, Cherrie, with the IPPs? I know you've been at, who's it you've been working with? Were you working with, doing things with Donna Mooney?
Yes, we're doing things with Ungrit.
Ungrit.
Yep. So we've been doing stuff with Ungrit with Donna Mooney, who lost a brother some time ago. She started the campaign really all those years ago. Her brother Tommy sadly died because he was an IPP. So she started to campaign, and then obviously I started to campaign because I didn't want to lose my brother, because you know you do all you can. And so I've been working with my brother for a long time, and everybody else, and then I've been helping a handful of the families and the lads as well. So the latest one IPP I'm helping towards a trial for duress is Joe Outlaw, who stood on the roof at Strange Ways, and is up in court for some criminal damage. So we've got court on the 28th for this month, I believe.
So is it 20th of July? Is that when Joe's up?
So 20th of July at Teesside, he's going to stand trial that week. So we're supporting with that, Joe with that, and his family, which is it's just hard. It's one thing after another for them, isn't it? Do you know?
Is there. So Joe Outlaw was obviously, he's IPP as well, and I've met lads inside a prison. It's very hard to get up on top of the prison roofs, but then you've got these select few lads that can climb on any roof. Joe's got that gift, and he's used that gift to his advantage. He got up on top of Strange Ways roof.
Yeah.
Was that last, or was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago, because the punishment for that, Ricky, was 2 years in segregation. So it would have been just over 2 years ago, I would have thought. So he really suffered for that, and he really got punished for that. But he didn't do it to escape. He did it basically to make a point, and to, because all the IPPs that have died is, his brothers and sisters that had died inside of the IPP. He did it to make a point and then really stand up for them, and obviously got himself into a lot of trouble, and that's why we're having the trial.
So he got up on the roof in Strange Ways and he wrote on free IPPs. There was a lot of
Yeah,
press and that there. And like it's here, it did get the coverage, because if you type in Joe Outlaw,
it'll
a
come
couple of
up.
my videos come up as well on Google that I've done about him. And there is articles in there. So he has made a point and he has done what he wanted to, trying to get publicity around this.
Raise
So
awareness. Yeah.
on Strange Ways, which was a HMP Manchester, sent him up to Frankland Prison, put him in the block, and that's when he got up on the roof, because I've seen it. Obviously, Franklin's my local to me
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah.
And it was in the Chronicle. Joe was up on the roof protesting, and like you say, it's ludicrous how they charged him for escaping from prison when obviously he didn't get on the outside of the prison walls.
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah.
he was still inside the segregation unit, and it's nigh on impossible to escape out of there, because I've been in there myself. You've got the big metal fence with the barbed wire. Then you've got the outside big concrete wall, which is about 20 foot high, or maybe it's even higher, which there's no way you're going to get out of there. So Joe's made an example out of them by getting up on the roof, but they're now making an example of him by charging him with this. So what's he looking at then for his case? What have they said?
Well, I think he's got is it the King's Consort or something like that. He's got
Yeah.
yeah, he's got that, and I think he's going in for duress. So I think it's going to be a very positive outcome for Joe, and I think it'll set an example, and then hopefully we can get over this and then go on to progress him and get him through his parole, because he needs to be back home to his family now.
So is he still wanting to organise a protest? Because obviously a peaceful protest outside the Crown Court, because
Yeah.
that's something I was going to be doing if I was back in the UK. I was going to get a lot of people together and go down
Yeah.
and obviously try and
Yeah.
give him a bit of publicity and all that. So is he still wanting that?
Yeah, he's still wanting that support, bless him, because he did a lot for the families, and he did
Yeah.
that, and he suffered for 2 years for it. So he obviously I'll be there, and a lot of supporters will be there on the 28th. It's Monday the 28th, so it's a week tomorrow. Monday the 28th at Teesside Crown Court. I think there's only one. I've not really been there, so there'll just be one there. For any time from 9 o'clock. So we're just going to go there, give him some support, He's done some artwork on some t-shirts, so we're selling those. And just to raise awareness, really, he's done some work with Charles Bronson, did some
Oh,
art
yeah.
with him.
So he's up in HMP Woodhill. Is he back on the normal wings then, or is he in the segregation unit?
No, he's back on the normal wings, which took him a long time to adjust because mentally he was quite broken with it. So I think he's got himself on his feet, he's focusing on the trial, and his focusing after that is to get back to his family and try and piece together some sort of normality, you know, and stop being punished. He's done his time, 15 years.
And with the IPPs, which I didn't mention at the beginning, they were abolished in 2012. Now everybody, well, I'm saying everybody, not a lot of people still knows about this horrendous sentence 20 years later.
Yeah.
There will be a massive investigation into it, I believe, a big massive scandal like the post office scandal.
Yeah.
Eventually realize how many people's lost their lives through it, how many people's lost loved ones, how many people suffered on this sentence. And the fact that they were only supposed to bring out 1,000 IPPs and ended up giving out nearly 9,000, I believe.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's just
it's beggars belief, Ricky, but you know, it's like you are correct. It is one of the biggest scandals amongst the post office, and the blood scandal. It is the next scandal. It is already the scandal, not the next one. But they are doing things behind the scene. You see, it's a bit like it's been so hard to get to this point for everybody, and for people like yourself who advocate and, you know, you kind of like you build things up and you're trying to motivate people. We need more people like that, because some of the lads are so lost and some of the lasses are so lost. They don't, because the sentence has broke them that much. They feel like they just can't do it. You know, they come on the outside, but they're still like 20 years is a long time to be in jail and try and work a phone or try and work anything. You know, so they've got a lot to learn, haven't they, out here?
well, I can't imagine like the time that I went in 2006, like your brother. I mean, I was released in 2010, serving just over 5 years. But like I've been out all that time. I got recalled after nearly 10 years, but in that time I was married, had businesses, 4 kids, and I've made a life for me now. These lads like haven't even had that chance to get out here and to prove themselves and get on with their lives. Like the sentence was originally brought out for S offenders, the worst of society, the beasties.
It was.
And if it was kept for them, it would have worked, because that type of sentence would fit that type of criminal. When they're not even classed as criminals, it's like not of normal criminal element, them type of offenders. If it was kept just for them and given to the select few that were obviously dangerous to the little ones, then it would have worked. But they give it to a lot of lads and lasses who it was the first offences, like myself. It was my first time in prison for violence. But I've seen people out in my local area who had been in and out all their lives, and they didn't even get the IPP. And I used to think to myself, like, why are they giving it to people on the first time in? But then there's people who have committed any amounts of robberies and violent offences, and they didn't get the IPP. It was just madness.
Yeah, it was terrible, and you've got people like stealing a mobile phone, and the press and the government are putting them out to be the most dangerous people. I mean, you've pinched a mobile phone. How can you ever be the most dangerous person? And it's just a cover up, isn't it? It's a cover up of, like, if they make them out to be the most dangerous people, then they'll get all the backing. But actually, we're all educating the public to understand that anybody who goes in prison will pose a risk to the public because they've been in. You know, so you can't just blame all the IPPs for pinching a mobile phone or making a mistake the first time round. You know, they're not in and out. They don't get out. You know, it's just it's beggars belief. You know, so the aftermath is massive, and there's been 300 deaths out here of IPPs that have come out, and there's 300 that have died.
Is that what it is? Who couldn't handle it?
Yeah, 90 inside. And probably more numbers, Ricky, because there's loads of numbers that are hidden from us, you know, through the back door and all that, you know. And it's
Most of the lads that have been in for like nearly 20 years coming up, like the mental health's deteriorated that much like they don't know what to do with them now when they should be giving them that help and support. I've done a podcast, I think it might have been a couple of years ago now, with Joseph Grundy, his brother Martin Grundy. I think he'd done coming up to, I think it was around about 15, 16 years, something mad like that. And he actually lost the plot inside of prison. He barricaded his cells up and he thinks that people's trying to come in during the night. He's hallucinating, saying little people were coming in his pad during the night and everything. So when he's coming up for parole, they're saying this man's a lunatic. Give him another 12-month knockback or 24-month knockback. But yet he's left to rot in that same cell for another 12 months till he comes up to the next hearing and nothing's happened. And that's not his fault. He's like, it's the prison's fault. They're the ones that's supposed to be looking after him. They've still got that duty of care to give him outside help or get him put in a hospital or something. But then he comes back again for another hearing. His mental health's deteriorated even more. Like, what are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's like madness.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing. So when my brother got in the car the first time round when he was coming out, he looked really well because he knew he was coming out. When he got recalled, and I went to pick him up the second time, he looked like a different person. He was like lost loads of weight. Mentally he was ill anyway because mental health deteriorated over a number of years. And they get, some of them get paranoid schizophrenia, they get all kinds of mental health issues because they're just left to think and just forgotten about in many ways. But I didn't recognize my brother, and he just looks ill. There's just nothing there between the eyes, and it's horrendous. And that's what it does to a lot of the prisoners.
So how did he adjust when he got out after 20 years? Did he go into a hostel or did he come back with a family home?
He went to a hostel, which was like kind of a pipe, but not a pipe. It didn't have the credentials, but it had the pipe therapeutic sort of trained staff, before it got moved over. And I think the first night he didn't go to sleep because I thought, oh, you'll have a nice night, you'll get a comfy bed and all that. That's what you hope for. Dropped him off at at his probation hostel for all his lovely things. And he said I'd never slept last night, and I thought to myself, why did I say that? Of course he didn't sleep because he's got PTSD, thinking they're going to come back for him and lock him up. That's the recall, Ricky, and that's what happens. You're like looking over your shoulder, thinking you're going to get recalled for missing a probation appointment or being a couple of minutes late or something that you haven't done, and it's beggars belief, isn't it? But that's what happens.
We're putting them in the hostels as well, setting them up to fail because they're surrounded by all different types of prisoners.
Yeah.
All these prisoners that maybe have a few months to do before the license is up. They're off their head, the mortal drunk on the mornings, the causing aggro. Then you've got someone who's IPP who's got to be squeaky clean, and you're chucking them in the middle of that. Like, these hostels are stinking of green. Everyone's off the nuts. And then an IPP's got to be squeaky clean. Like, they shouldn't be putting IPPs in places like that. It's just madness.
A lot of them need hospital now, Ricky, because they're so mentally burned by it. They need hospitalization, not punishment. So when my brother went back in, I asked them to arrest him because obviously he'd absconded, and he was late. That's why he got recalled. But I asked them to arrest him on a 138, which is a mental health act. But they just totally bypassed that and just put him straight back in. So his mental health condition is not going to go; it's just going to get worse. Can you see where they go wrong?
So how long was he out then before he got recalled?
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Bad, that wasn't it?
3 days, and it's just like, but I don't recognise him anymore. He's just not there.
Was
and
this on his
just,
first one? Because he's been recalled twice, hasn't he, since he got out?
Yeah, so the first one he was late back because he got lost. He didn't know where he lived. So then he went to another hostel. He went to another hostel and asked them to ring ahead because he couldn't remember the name of the place. Never mind know where he lives. And so they rang ahead, and he obviously went, and because he was late, they'd already made that call and they can't retract it.
Right.
So we went through when he went back, he did 11 weeks and went through the RAW system, which is like a new system that was brought out in November last year, that meant that you didn't have to go through the parole board, that they could release you on the papers, which they
Right.
can do, because it's not it's not related, it's not like recall because he's had a crime, like done a serious crime or anything. It's because he's missed an appointment or something's happened, which is why I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be back, but do they deserve to be recalled? Is there another way that we can punish people instead of putting them back inside when there's no spaces?
Like you say, getting recalled for not even committing a criminal offence, being late to a hostel, could have, like you say, maybe wait until they see what the reason was first, or
Yeah.
but and then he got recalled on the second time. What was that one for? Did you say that was for?
So he got recalled on the second time. He'd gone out again, and he was so paranoid that he was going to get recalled. He was hearing voices. He just wasn't well. But I knew he wasn't well in the morning, so I rang the doctors to try and get him registered. But I just didn't have enough time to do it before he got recalled. You know, because you've got to get appointments and you've got to get. So I wanted to get him some antipsychotic medication to try and then go through the trauma, get some counselling and all kinds of stuff, work that I needed to do. We didn't get to do it, Ricky, because he just got recalled.
But that's the thing as well. Like you say, like they're suffering with the mental health, and you don't tell anybody. We don't want to ask for help because there was a case where some lad was IPP. The IPP was interfering with his head. He was worrying about getting recalled.
Yeah.
He went to the doctors, asked for help, given some. I don't know if he got medication, but obviously they put him down as having depression or whatever.
Yeah.
The probation found out about it. I don't know if they got in touch with the doctors when they're doing reports, found out that he'd been in the doctors with his mental health and recalled because of his mental health.
Yeah. And there must be other things that we can do. I mean, it's like, it just doesn't make sense when the prisons are full and people are recalled because of mental health. And like a lot of these guys and girls are clearly struggling with the mental health, and we just lock them up. So what that does is they come out even worse. So it's not really addressed. It's just tucked back in under the carpet, you know, and it's beggars belief that they do now need a therapeutic community, so a therapeutic prison, that they should all be together and get that help, not punishment.
Like you say as well, if they're together, they can help each other.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the help is coming from the prisoners serving IPP.
Yeah.
Like I used to help a lot of the lads myself. Sorry, I used to help a lot of the lads myself who were IPP. Used to help them get fit, get out on the yard, do certs, try and help them get in a better mindset. And obviously being out in the community, continuing talking about it on YouTube and different things and on the IPP pages. I'm still helping a lot of people myself at the minute, but
which is amazing. But you, Ricky, like, you're very positive. You're a great mentor. How many people in prison would actually do that? It's only slim pickings that people will be able to buddy up, give them that hope. I mean, as a campaigner, that's what I try to do, that to a lot of the lads, to give them hope that there can be another way, and people out here are helping them. But people like yourself, is when you're in prison, you're motivating them when you're struggling yourself. It's not easy, is it? Do you know what I mean?
I think for me as well, the way I am, obviously, when I'm helping other people, I'm actually helping myself because it's keeping me busy by helping other people.
Yeah, sure. Heals you, doesn't it? Yeah.
The difference. But so getting back to Joe, then, what's his hopes, and is he hopeful for this case? Is he wanting to get his point across? Does he want to tell the jury members about the IPP, or what's his aim?
I think he wants to educate, and I think he's got a lot of support behind him. And ultimately, it's a lot of stress, isn't it, to get moved, come up here, do the trial. It's extra stress as well as the IPP, trying to integrate into and prison population after being segregation for 2 years. So he's hoping for a good outcome, for a positive outcome, and then try and move on and focus on where he is to get him signposted home, really. That's what he wants. He wants to be a better man, you know?
Is he category B still, or has he been classed as category A now?
I think he's category B, Woodhill.
Yeah.
He wasn't A.
So is he getting moved any further up north for the trial? Or do you not know yet?
Yeah, it'll get moved up for the trial up north for that for 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever it is, and then he'll go back down to Woodhill, I believe.
So I wonder if you get moved up to Durham, because Durham's a Category B remand prison, so he maybe's
I
go
think he's
there.
going to go to Durham. I think he'll go to Home House or somewhere. I think that kind of way. I think.
Home House is actually Category C still, I think. I think they
Yeah.
were trying to get back to B, but that's a Category C, so...
Yeah. So he'll stay there temporarily for his trial, and then he'll go back up there, to Woodhill. But I mean, he's doing all his drawings, he's doing all his bits and pieces, he's getting his music out, so he's working hard, and it gives him a focus. But it must be quite stressful, this trial, you know.
Well, hopefully he gets a not guilty, and then he can progress and get on with his life, because obviously, like you say, he's got a family out here as well, as he.
Yeah, he's got a partner and 2 girls, so it's kind of, it gives him a focus. And family, like yourself, family is always a focus, isn't it? That's what you do it for, you know, and it makes you stronger. But we've just really got to look after the ones that are really struggling, and that's we just keep going with that, don't we?
But people think as well, you get out here like probation and that as well. They think, oh, what are you complaining for? Sometimes you're out here, but when you get out, it's a different type of torment when you're out on license as well, because you've still got that risk of going back. And I was out for nearly 10 years on license, and in that 10 years, the first few years, everything was going well for me, but then obviously I experienced some suicides in the family and family friends, and made me go off the rails a little bit again, drinking heavily, and obviously I ended up getting recalled back to prison. But leading up to that recall, like probation, they must have been able to see sometimes the way that I was, and I wasn't getting any hassle really from them until leading up until I got a different probation officer who despised us. But when I got released, it was actually worse. When I got out on a recall, after the recall, the license conditions and everything was actually worse than when I was first released off the IPP. When I was first released off the IPP, I had license conditions, but I didn't have to go to a hostel or anything. The conditions weren't that bad. I got released after being recalled. I had to do 6 months on a GPS tag, a tracking tag. Had more conditions added onto us, and it was just more intense. And then the more that I was doing good out here in the community, the worse probation was looking at us. It was like you just couldn't win. And I know lads out here now, someone that got in touch with us last week, I'll not mention who it is, who isn't sleeping. He's in a bad state of mind. He sent us a picture of his cell, and I sent one back, sent a message back saying, "What's the matter with you?" I thought something was the matter with his face.
Yeah.
But his eyes, the bags under his eyes and his face, you could just see the pain in his face. And he's actually doing good out here in the community. But because he's doing good, he's getting penalised off probation. They're hounding him, thinking that he's doing other things when he's actually running groups and helping people out here in the community.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing that was happening with me. The more that I was doing good, the more probation didn't like it. And you're thinking, like, people kind of get their mind around it, because they're thinking, like, why would they treat you like that when you're doing well?
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense, because we need lads like yourself and the other lads that are really trying in the community, and then they'll buddy up and other people will help them and things like that. Because the thing is, the license. See, so I believe when you come out, that's it. You're done. If you're safe to release, you don't need any license conditions. You
Yeah.
know, and the license conditions are so strict. There's no flexibility for anything else. And then they've got nowhere to go, so they can't get into work, they can't do this, they can't do that, and it stops them. It doesn't work. So that definitely needs looked at, because they need to be trusted somewhat if they're going to be let out, not like, can't go anywhere or do anything without looking over the shoulder, because that increases the paranoia, doesn't it? It's so hard.
You can't go on family holidays, you can't leave the country with your family, I couldn't stay out overnight without informing probation.
Yeah.
So just say you were on a night out or something, you couldn't get a taxi back and you went and stayed at a friend's or whatever, you're then breaking your conditions because you haven't notified probation prior to that. So you're worrying about this before you even went out. When I used to go to, say, if I wanted to go to a hotel with my wife, have the kids looked after, we have a night out ourselves, we couldn't go because I hadn't given probation a week's notice.
Oh
There was one time I rang probation up and I said, oh, my probation officer wasn't in. So I left a message saying I'm wanting to take my wife to a hotel at the weekend. It's our wedding anniversary. Oh, that'll be fine. Yeah, we'll mark everything down. I was actually at the hotel, woke up the next morning, got a phone call off my probation officer saying where you're at. Says I'm at a hotel. She says, what are you playing at? You didn't tell us. Says I left a message, and she was actually goading us down the phone, tormenting us. And I had actually had a drink the night before, and I was a bit hungover, and I was just about to start shouting down the phone, and my wife's going like that, don't.
Yeah.
I was that angry. I thought, how dare you fucking ring me when I'm at a hotel with my wife, wedding anniversary, and you're goading me down the phone, trying to get a reaction so you can say, right, you're getting recalled.
Oh, man.
She was like saying to us, you know you're supposed to notify me. I says, I rang the office. I left a message with them to tell them. She says, yes, you're in a different county. I need to inform the police that you're coming into their area. And I was like, oh, couldn't believe it.
Yeah, there's certain jobs working there working, and there's some wonderful probation officers, but there's some really ones that just don't get it at all, and it's a tick box exercise, and there's no flexibility, no empathy, no nothing. And I just think, give us a chance, you know.
Yeah, but I've reached out to a few people doing serving IPP, or people who have finished serving and had it terminated, and people who's got family members in prison. Because I was wanting to get a bit of a documentary put together on here. I was going to showcase all the people's different stories. So if anyone is watching who's IPP, I will share this on the pages. If you want to take part in this, I will get something put together, because like I say, I think I've still got a duty for the ones serving the IPP to help them still and try and get the word out.
Yeah. And you
Was Joe wanting anything said on here?
Basically, just basically with if anybody's from the area, in Teesside area, who wants to come and support Joe, that would be absolutely wonderful for Joe and all us as well, because we're all helping. We're helping with the campaign for the IPP and raising awareness for that as well. As I say, it's on the 28th of July this month, so it's a week tomorrow. It's on a Monday, and it starts at 9 o'clock at Teesside Crown Court. So if anybody wants to come and support, we will be there, and we can obviously talk more about it and support Joe. I think he's grateful for the support that he has right now anyway. But any more would be fantastic, because it's so hard for them. They're so overly punished, and it's just horrific, isn't it? So any support would be great, and it's nice that you've gone through it yourself and you're still helping everybody else, because it is hard.
It is. But again, like a lot of people that watch me channel as well, a lot of people obviously who watch these type of channels have never been to prison, they've never been in trouble, but they like to hear what goes on inside a prison. And the amount of people that still don't know IPP even exists, even though it doesn't exist, as in it's no longer given out. It was abolished in 2012, but the ones that were given IPP are still serving it unless it gets terminated. But there's not a lot of people knows anything about these IPPs. So on here, I'll just keep on showcasing it and letting people know exactly what's going on with the IPPs.
Yeah.
But it looks like Cherie's Wi-Fi maybe playing up again there, but I'll see if she comes back on. Oh.
Am I back? Am I in the room?
Can you hear us there, Cherrie?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
2 seconds. I'll have to wait until your signal comes back on, because it's broke up there and it looks like you're just having a smile on the screen.
Oh gosh, sorry guys. But you might be able to hear me though. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah.
All right, that's fine then. It doesn't matter if you can't see. It's just I live in the middle of nowhere, so my Wi-Fi is like terrible. So don't worry about that. So yeah, but no, we'll keep going with this campaign, and we'll do everything we can to help those families and support them, because nothing worse than feeling like you're on your own with it.
Yeah.
You know,
but if you are in touch with anybody who wants to come on and do a podcast, or anyone who's had it terminated, let them know and give us a shout, because obviously I've got more time now, so I'm going to be doing more podcasts and more interviews with people who've been in prison or IPPs or IPP families. So if you let them know and see if they
Oh,
want
of
to come
course.
on.
Oh, absolutely. Can I ask you what it feels like to have your license taken off you? Because that's so exciting for me to hear that you've got it terminated.
Oh, it was absolutely the best feeling ever. But I'm actually, since getting off my license,
Amazing.
obviously after me recall, when I got out, I changed my life around massively anyway, because when I got recall, I was married and I had 4 kids, which I didn't have when I went on my IPP. So when I was in prison, not knowing when I was to be released again, and my kids were on the other end of the phone, they were only 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 7 and 8, and they were saying, "Dad, when you're coming home?" Well, that broke my heart because I couldn't tell them.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the turning moment in my life when I thought I need to make sure I never go back to prison. I've got a family to look after. So I went teetotal as well. So when I got off my license, we didn't even have a celebratory drink, even though me and my wife had always said, when we get off license, we're going flat out. We're celebrating properly.
Absolutely.
But in our heads, we were thinking that celebrating, but we didn't. I didn't have a drink for 6 months afterwards because I wanted to soak it in. I wanted to feel out what it was like to be free, because it took a while. But when I got the answer, and I knew for definite that it was gone and my IPP was gone, I just felt like a weight had been lifted. I felt like a brand new person.
Yeah,
It's
be
just
normal again. Be treated like a normal human being.
because even leading up to me parole, I would wake up during the night, go to the toilet for 3 o'clock in the morning, go for a piss or whatever. And in my mind, the first thing I would think about is the IPP probation. So it torments you, even though you're not doing anything wrong, you're tormented.
Yeah.
But to not have that anymore is just an absolute blessing. Like waking up and not fearing IPP or fearing the recall. So it will happen for you, brother, and it will happen for the rest of them one day. They've just got to keep fighting and just keep their head strong.
Oh, absolutely. And you can help many people because you know what it's like to have your license taken off you. So if anybody obviously wants to maybe get some advice from you, what you did is that changed their life around, obviously for them to come on your channel, and you'll have other videos because you do a lot of motivational work, don't you, and a lot of one-to-ones and stuff. That'll be good for them to look at that too, give them some inspiration.
But is there anything more you would like to add, Cherrie, talk about, or?
Not really. No. As I said, I'm quite grateful to catch up. It's lovely to catch up, and it's wonderful to see what work you're doing. As I say, I'm helping families this side, and obviously Joe at the moment because his trial's coming up, and then there's a few others that get to the point with the parole, and then I say, right, what do we need to do? What can we do, and how can we help you? So it's a bit like where they're at and trying to push them to be where they want to get, where they need to be. So that's my role at the moment, helping those people and educating them and finding out, because sometimes if you don't have anybody rooting for you, your rights get infringed. So it's making sure that we can advocate for them, and it's not just me, it's Ungrip. There's a lot of other campaigners. We're all working as one to help those people so they're not alone. So yeah. So thank you for having me on here today. I don't want to keep rambling on.
I want to thank you as well. Thank you and the rest of the lasses that have all campaigned for. I keep saying us because I am still class myself as one of them. The IPPs.
You are, yeah.
If it wasn't for you's campaigning, my IPP might not have been terminated, because that was one of the things that came about because of all the campaigning that happened. The new laws came into force because of all these wonderful women that petitioned and campaigned for us lot serving IPP. So thank all of you lot who campaigned for us.
Yeah, it's been slow, but we did get the license done from 10 to 3 years, and then we got the raw sort of looked at, which meant when they went back in, they could get released on the papers. That saved a couple of years. So things are happening slowly for the IPP population, Ricky. But it's just pushing that border up the hill, and we're pushing it up the hill, and it will eventually come down, and we'll get them on the human rights. We will.
But brilliant, Cherrie. Thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to do a little subscribers now to see if they've got any questions for us. But take care, Cherrie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Now then, people, if there's any questions you've got about the IPPs, about Joe Outlaw, or anything relating to prison regarding the IPP, hit us up. While I'm waiting for some questions, if any of you are interested in any of the prison merchandise, Behind the Bars TV, check my website out. There's a link I'll put in the description, or if you go to the About section, got a whole range of different t-shirts that people might be interested in. Right, I'll just put on, so Adam Terrell says prison life from both sides of the bars. And he's also put on, I'll catch up with a full interview later. So if anyone is joining late, a lot of people are joining now. Once this live's finished, which will be in the next few minutes, because I'm going to wrap it up. Once I click end the stream, it will then automatically upload. You'll be able to watch it from the start. Right, any questions, people? Because like I say, I'm going to wrap it up soon. But I can see a couple of me subscribers there in the comments, me normal ones. Yaki Gaddafi, who's been a member for 8 months. Thank you for your ongoing support. One of me loyal subscribers. Thank you. So, Messi Steve. Ricky, why has the government not released people on the IPP when it's been abolished? It was abolished 13 years ago. And the reason why they didn't release everybody retrospectively, which I can see the reason why, because some of these people still serve an IPP or predators and are a danger to kids. And obviously they couldn't just release these because they are still dangerous, as in they would commit them S offences. These type of prisoners, you cannot just release the needs. That's why when I was doing the interview with Cherrie, I was saying there is certain types of prisoners that need either this sentence or a similar sort of sentence to keep an eye on them, because the ones that are a danger to the little ones are totally different to the likes of the ones I've just been speaking about, like Joe Outlaw, like Cherrie's brother Aaron, like obviously like myself. We're totally different to the other spectrum of prisoners. And that's why they couldn't release everybody, because obviously they were still a danger. So the Forbidden Man, bless you, Ricky, thanks for your time. Not a problem, like I say. Got a duty to come on here and do stories, and a lot of people have got stories to get out as well. So if there is anybody that wants to come on, any prison stories, family members, anything like that, I'm doing loads of podcasts and interviews now, because I've got more time now that I'm living the dream out here in Thailand. Right. So Adam says, do you watch John Wedger talking about the kids? I'm not familiar with him. Don't know who that is. Right, people. If there is no more questions. So Donald says, can you do a video on Thomas Campbell? The name rings a bell, but I'm not quite familiar who that is. I'll Google it to see who it is, and I will. I do get a lot of requests for videos, and I do. It's getting tongue-tied there. I do get a lot of requests for videos, and I do my best to try and get them up and running. So Wayne Scott says, as you know, I'm on a life license as a mandatory lifer. When I was recalled and my probation came to see me, she said to me, you ought to be grateful that you are not an IPP prisoner. Wow, what a statement that is. So Wayne is a mandatory lifer, which means if you kill somebody, it's a mandatory life sentence. And a probation officer has said, you should be grateful that you're not an IPP prisoner, because the IPPs are treated worse than murderers. The people who have been in doing a life sentence have got time to get this sentence done. sorry, not get the sentence, they've got time to get courses done, and they've got time to prove that they can behave themselves in the system, and the majority of the time when they come up for parole, they get released. IPPs, because the tariffs are so short, haven't got time to do that, so they just get knockback after knockback. So Adam says, ex-Scotland Yard detective, he's excellent for standing against the system. I'll have to have a look, so I'm not familiar with that one. But I'm going to knock this off now, people, because it is 10 o'clock at night here in Thailand. But keep tuned, people, because I'll be putting videos on every day this week. And I am in the process of getting me the channel published. Even though it is already published, it's got 11,000 subscribers, because I used to put the crime videos on that channel. I've now deleted all them videos, and it is now called Ricky Clean Fitness. I've got a few videos ready to release, but I need to make an introduction video for that channel. Then I will have 2 channels, and I will be doing my motivation talks, trying to inspire people, because I didn't want to mix everything up on this channel where I had all prison topics mixed in with motivation and fitness and different things. So I'm keeping 2 separate channels, and I will be doing travel vlogs about over here in Thailand. So people, thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Have a good week ahead, and get yourself in a good state of mind going into the week ahead. Don't go into the week thinking, oh, it's Monday. For fuck's sake, here we go again. Wake up and think, yes, grateful to wake up another week alive. Take care, everyone, and stay safe.